Don't vote for them. Portable rants as politicians seek refund of show money. In a video that surfaced online on Friday night, the fast-rising musician ranted in the Yoruba language while cursing anyone who votes for the politicians who put Nigeria in this condition. Portable, who appeared to have filmed the footage at the Abuja airport, lamented that his flight to Lagos was delayed and that the excuse was no fuel to move the plane. He also claimed that he's been asked to refund payments made to him for a show he was supposed to perform after the money had been spent. Well, given the translations, it says in English, "I've suffered the money I already spent. You should talk about paying another one. Are you kidding? Is it the fault not with Nigerians as a country? A whole Abuja? No fuel inside the airplane. If you are man enough, vote for the bad politicians," he said. They've conned your generation. You can't con us the way you conned our grandparents. It should be us enslaving you on. Imagine them telling me to refund the money paid for the show. It is not exactly clear if the refund Portable speaks of is for a stage performance not delivered. It also remains to be seen if his rant is directed towards his political engagements in Osun State. Portable earlier endorsed Boyega Oyetola, the governor of Osun, who is seeking a second term in the ongoing election. Well, he's lost. He had flaunted words of Naira notes given to him by the governor. Photos surfaced last Thursday showing Portable performing at a roadshow campaign for Oyetola. Portable's outburst comes as the latest in a series of controversies involving the singer. He had previously called out Davido, the Afro-pop star, for following him on social media. Well, you're against his uncle, who's in the PDP, so, for someone who's endorsing his uncle, and, well, with that support now his uncle has won, well, oh my days, funny. Yeah, of course, so we don't really know. So is it that he was paid for an undelivered performance, or maybe it's the performance given last week at the campaigns? But however, or anyways, with whatever happens, it doesn't matter, because now the results are out, and the PDP have won with their candidate, which happens to be Davido's uncle. So, and he won by a very, very large margin. I mean, would I say large? I mean, given the number of votes, let me say top 3, I think, yeah, his uncle did pretty well. So yeah, I don't understand of course, he's a controversial singer. I mean, I wouldn't say I know exactly what the controversies are, but I'd say that he's been in the news, quite often, in some cases, and I'm not really sure if it's for good or bad, but he's just being discussed. That's what we can say. Can't necessarily say if it's good or it's bad. So I don't know what he's saying, especially if you've already voted or if you've already endorsed APC by performing in a show already. As much as you can come out and say it was just a show, I was paid because you're a musician, doesn't make any sense. Davido is a musician, but he's supporting his father. Now, again, these people are using you as a tactic because you have followers and you have, the reach to the target that they're trying to get to. So if bringing you to their show would give them more votes, they would do it. And you going on their show means that you are endorsing them. Whether you said it in plain English in Yoruba or you didn't say it at all, the fact that you were there and you performed, yes, it is safe for us to assume that you support them. How can you perform at the concert and then you tell Nigerians, oh, don't vote for them? Are you serious? Doesn't make sense. Yeah. First, opinion. Isn't it the same guy that campaigned for APC? Obi will change the narrative. Okay. This guy doesn't love himself. He's fighting his ancestors. Shame on APC and their party member. Is the airline not privately owned? Management problems are Nigerian problems, not the government. If you are to refund any money, the airline should be made to pay. Your client cannot pay for a service not rendered. However, if you're a serious person, you would have been there a day before your performance, considering the country factors. But I'm guessing... Okay. Not that I agree with this client, but this client is... I mean, this comment... But it's giving the impression that he was meant to be somewhere and he's not there. And due to the delay, maybe there's... they're asking for a possible refund. Hence the video. And again, the commenter has, expressed the seriousness of this man, which it's a personal thing, but we can also mention it. For the fact that you're asked for a refund as a business person or whatever, you know, if you're trying to stick with the identity, I'm just a musician, I have no affiliations, okay, fine. For the fact that you're a musician, you're a professional musician, if you haven't signed any contracts and your clients are asking for a refund, I'm sure they would have grounds to do that. You can't just do that if you've signed a contract. So for the fact that you say you've spent the money, whether you spent it or not, you should be able to deliver the refund anyway. The refund doesn't necessarily have to be the money they gave you. Even if it's spent, you should already have money that accounts to that, to the money that you are given, and it's literally as simple as that. I don't know how much they'd pay him, and I wouldn't say he can't afford to refund what they've paid him, but again, it's the way, it's just the manner in which he says the money spent. That's your problem. It's giving on seriousness, but that's not the point. The commenter also mentioned that that the airline is not privately owned. Management problems and Nigerian problems are Nigerian problems, not the government. Okay, now, sorry. When it comes to airlines, it can be owned. Even the airport can be owned. But when it comes to regulations and compliance, legal compliance, how? We're not talking the running and the engine. We're talking the functionality of a plane that's going to carry people and save lives. At the end of the day, there needs to be regulations. It's Nigeria's problems. Because it's going to go back to the country anyway. Because at the end of the day, there are businesses that are operating under what jurisdiction? Nigeria. So if there are policies that are in the interest and the safety of citizens, there will be policies on the functionality of a plane. And if it's that, the plane has to have fuel at a certain time before a flight takes off or whatever, or like, let's say hours before a flight, there are certain functionalities that have not been tested or whatever, then, you should, suspend the flight. That's fine. But the argument that it's not Nigeria's, it is Nigeria's problems. Because if the people should unfortunately pass due to anything, it's the government that will take the blame for it. And there need to be stronger regulations to have heavy fines on these airplanes, if that's the case.